Hello, my name is Kathy, and today I'll be continuing the discussion on Bach Flower Essences with their practical use, continuing with their use on ailments. Today we will look at the ailments that these essences can help with, starting with the letter B, ailments. But before I do this, I wanted to let you know that because I have a great many videos now on many different topics, that I've decided to make several different video playlists so that it's easier to find the videos of greatest interest. So please check out my playlist page. Bedwetting. Sometimes bedwetting has organic causes, but generally the causes are psychic. When bedwetting is due to a lack of attention, use chicory. When bedwetting is due to feelings against uncleanliness, use crabapple. When bedwetting is due to anxiety induced by anticipation, use mimulus. Every night the bedwetter secretly fears that they'll repeat their offense. Mimulus alleviates these fears and counters the actual acting out of it. When bedwetting is due to feelings of guilt, use pine. It is especially damaging to reproach a bedwetter for their weakness. When they are overcome with feelings of guilt, they cannot distance themselves from them. A humorous, harmless remark will do more good than a serious reprimand. When bedwetting is due to contrariness, resentment, or bitterness, use willow. Excessive pressure from a parent or guardian can make a bedwetter contrary, so that bedwetting happens exactly because it must not. Behavioral problems. Essentially, all Bach flower essences are used to treat internal and external disorders that affect our relationships with the social realm, with reality. The Bach flower essences are appropriate for treating conditions with the following characteristics. For issues with artificiality and dishonesty, use agrimony. For issues with groundless, delusional timidity or anxiety, use aspen. For issues with excessive tolerance or generosity, use beech. For issues with self-injurious cheerfulness, use centaury. For issues with insecurity and uncertainty, use serrato. For issues with hysteria, use cherry plum. For issues with inattentiveness and learning difficulties, use chestnut bud. For issues with jealousy, excessive mothering and coddling, use chicory. For issues with unrealistic fantasies, use clematis. For issues with fear of filth and compulsive cleanliness, use crabapple. For issues with sudden feelings of stress and overwork, use elm. For issues with pain, with being weak-willed or easily discouraged, use gentian. For issues with hopelessness, use gorse. For issues with showing off or needing for recognition, use heather. For issues with unfriendliness and aggressiveness, use holly. For issues with homesickness and grieving, use honeysuckle. For issues with groundless feelings of stress and overwork, use hornbeam. For issues with impatience and restlessness, use impatiens. For issues with feelings of inferiority, use larch. For issues with excessive timidity or anxiety, use mimulus. For issues with depression, use mustard. For issues with uncompromising behavior and excessive ambition, use oak. For issues with general exhaustion, use olive. For issues with guilt complexes, use pine. For issues with excessive worry and concern, use red chestnut. For issues with panic, use rock rose. For issues with self-abuse and ascetic behavior, use rock water. For issues with indecisiveness and flightiness, use scleranthus. For issues with being easily insulted and being oversensitive, use Star of Bethlehem. For issues with desperation, use sweet chestnut. For issues with missionary zeal, use vervain. For issues with closed-mindedness and dogmatism, use vine. For issues with being easily influenced and self-alienation, use walnut. For issues with human contact problems, use water violet. For issues with restlessness and lack of goals, use wild oat. For issues with resignation and lack of enthusiasm, use wild rose. For issues with bitterness and unforgiveness, use willow. Beliefs. To help with beliefs that are too strong, dogmatism and naivety, vervain is used when we are obsessed with a conviction or an idea. Oak is used when we believe too strongly in our abilities and can become overwhelmed. To help with beliefs that are weak, gentian is used when we can't see the possibility of a positive outcome, also for giving up and feelings of dejection. Gorse is used when we have absolutely no hope, hopelessness. Sweet chestnut is used when we feel we are at the end of our rope and for desperation. Birth, pregnancy. A birth will be more natural and problem-free if the mother is happy, strong, and relaxed. The following essences can help bring this about. Nature protects mothers during pregnancy by increasing their resistance to pathogens and other disease-causing influences. For general easing of the discomforts of labor, use agrimony, aspen, chicory, elm, impatiens, and mimulus. This combination can help ease the discomfort of labor and can be used as a general preparation. Agrimony relaxes, aspen helps instill confidence, chicory loosens us up and minimizes our sensitivity, elm imparts strength, impatience makes us calm, and mimulus gives us courage. For premature births, use elm, gentian, mimulus, olive, and water violet. This combination counters a tendency for premature births and provides strength for the pregnancy. For postpartum injuries or depression, use Star of Bethlehem. Star of Bethlehem helps injuries such as perineal tear to heal and helps overcome severe psychic trauma. With complications in the pregnancy or the birth, use Rescue Remedy. For panic, restlessness, or complications of any kind, Rescue Remedy has proven itself useful. Take it often. For weakness during labor, use gentian, olive, walnut, and wild rose. This combination gives strength, resolve, and endurance and promotes normal contractions. Blackmail, extortion, family problems, partner problems. It takes two to pull off blackmail. The blackmailer and the blackmailee both play a role, but both can do something about it when they are aware of their roles. Often, someone who has a tendency to be victimized will unconsciously seek out someone to take the role of the blackmailer. And by their anxious, weak, and masochistic behavior, this will trigger the blackmailing reflex in the perpetrator. Blackmailers, on the other hand, which means anyone who transmits their will into action through psychic pressure, are always on the lookout for victims. Most cases of psychic blackmail takes place in family surroundings. For people in the passive role, use Century. Century gives us more self-assurance so that we can stand up to blackmailers or to being used, and so that we do not provoke anyone to committing blackmail by our passive behavior. Pine can also be useful when guilt feelings are involved. For people in the active role, the blackmailers, use chicory. Chicory is effective against the habit of blackmailing people through emotional terror. For example, by provoking in them a guilty conscience or fishing for sympathy. Children often have such a tendency when we don't deal with them honestly. Blood pressure. The body's performance and efficiency depends on how much oxygen and nutrients can be transported from the blood to the cells. The arteries, like water pipes, need sufficient pressure. When the body is put under too much strain, the pressure is high. On the other hand, it doesn't perform optimally when the pressure is too low. For low blood pressure, or hypotension, low blood pressure is often characterized by paleness, weakness, dizziness, or fatigue. Clematis is used if we are not oriented towards success or in taking charge of our lives with a tendency towards daydreaming. Clematis is also used for a tendency toward unconsciousness or fainting, often used when the consciousness is clouded. Olive is used for general exhaustion. Wild rose is used for a general loss of interest. When we just mope through life, we don't need a vigorous blood flow. For high blood pressure or hypertension, high blood pressure or hypertension is often accompanied by reddening of the skin and increased general activity. It can often lead to headaches, dizziness, a dazed state, insomnia, and in long-term calcification, stroke, or angina pectoris. Aspen is used for suppressed fears when we are under constant pressure. Cherry plum is used for strong emotional pressure. Holly is used for rage, irritability, or annoyance, and for when the blood begins to boil. Impatience is used for severe impatience, haste, or restlessness. Oak is used for people who cannot give in or give up. They put themselves under pressure and face the danger of hardening of the arteries. Vervain is used for excessive activity and readiness for action. Willow is used for bitterness or resentment with internal pressure. Breakdown, on the verge of, obsession, psychosis. Cherry plum is used when we find ourselves on the verge of a breakdown because we have suppressed emotions or drives. I have a great many videos now on many different topics, and so I've decided to make several different video playlists so that it's easier to find the videos of greatest interest. So please check out my playlist page. Well, that's it for now. To stay up to date with my latest videos, make sure to subscribe to this free YouTube channel by clicking the red subscribe button right below this video. Take care.